Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. We are back with a brand new review of Our Kind of People, Season 1, Episode 7. If you are new here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of shade and a whole lot of detail. If you're back for a second or third time or a seventh time, then welcome back. Child, please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you get anything out of the content. Now, child, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. When the episode first opens up, so Teddy is sitting on the beach and he dressed in all white linen, looking fresh off of a Tom Joyner cruise. I was like, now he got 9 lives. Because initially, I just thought it was him sitting on the beach. And I said, Teddy, no, he can come back, honey, and then just pick up in the next episode like ain't nothing happened. But I was wrong. So then we see his brother Lewis, and he has on all white linen too. So the two of them embrace, and so Lewis is asking why he's there. He's like, it's a long story and it requires a lot of time. Lewis was like, well, yeah, seeing as how I'm deceased, I ain't got nothing but time, bro. So go ahead and tell me what it is. So then Teddy starts to fall to the ground and say how much his heart was hurting. Then we pan over to the doctor standing over him. Moving forward, Angela is still trying to explain to Nikki who Nate is, and they're still standing in the waiting room, right? And she's telling her, you know, when I went to visit him in prison, she said, in prison? Angela said, yeah, but he's a good man. Well, honey, if that's the case, why did you keep him a secret for 17 years? Something is not making no sense. So Nikki runs off because this is sensory overload at this point. So she's like, you know what? I don't want to get to know him. And baby, she gone, wet eyes and all. So Nate walks over to Angela and he's like, you know, I'm sorry for how things went down, but, you know, I'm staying in a room at Teddy's compound. Baby, that man know how to keep people close to him, don't he? He is the definition of keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Even though Nate ain't an enemy, it's somebody he's using because he considers Angela an enemy. Now, that's just me. Because if you're going to get somebody out of jail, which, I mean, I think that was a good thing because he needs to get to know Nikki. But for the sole purpose of trying to run an interference with your now newfound daughter and her man, just so you can get Tariq back on your team, then baby, honey, you shouldn't have been wearing no white linen, child. You should have been wearing red with a little pitchfork. Moving forward. So the doctor comes out to speak to the family, and she tells Leah and Angela he suffered a mild heart attack. So Leah said, doctor, can I talk to you privately for a moment? Baby, Angela came right on along. I'm like, Angela, honey, she didn't mean you. She just meant the doctor. So then the doctor tells her that there were lesions around his heart and he was over medicating because of the Parkinson's, which clearly he was not listening to the doctor's directives. He explicitly told you, do not take too many of these pills and take them at a specific time, the same exact time each day. Let me tell y'all something. That's why I had to get off birth control pills, child. And that's how my son arrived when I was married. A story time that's not really a story time. So you know how you got to take birth control pills every single day at the same time. So at the time I was working 2 jobs, child, and I would be at work and I would have an alarm that would go off in my pocket to tell me it's time to take the birth control pill of it all. So I was working at a restaurant and I'm standing at one of the tables and I'm, yeah, you know, welcome to so-and-so. You know, my name is Misha. I'll be taking care of you guys. What can I get you all to drink? So baby, that man ordered a sweet tea and that phone got to buzzing and the rest of the table had not yet ordered their drinks. Baby, when I tell y'all I put up that church finger, I said, give me just one moment. Child, I went to the back, took me a good gulp of Sprite, took that birth control pill and walked right on back out. Okay, I'm sorry. I just had to check on something. So a sweet tea for you. Okay, and you're going to have a lemonade, strawberry or regular. Baby, you will not catch me off guard. You will not catch me slipping with the birth control pill of it all. But then after a little while, I was like, you know what, child, this is really just running me ragged. And some days I was forgetting to take them and boom, a son is born. Moving forward. So Leah said, you know, I would like to see him because, you know, the Parkinson's is out now and Angela was looking crazy. Angela said, so would I. You know what, Leah, you ain't going to be able to get rid of Angela that easily. She is definitely playing that little sister role. You remember when your younger siblings always wanted to come along and tag along? Can I go? Can I go? Ugh, that's exactly what Angela was reminding me of. She was like, no, I am now a part of this family and I will be going to see my daddy. So when they get to the room, Angela asked why she didn't tell her that he had Parkinson's. She said, I didn't tell anyone. I didn't even tell Raymond. It could damage his legacy, and you know he's all about his legacy. So she leaves Angela alone with him, right? So Angela goes up to him while he's under and she tells him, my mom just died, so I can't lose you. We got unfinished business, old man. Don't you die on me. I was like, oh, honey, that was cold. Baby, she is most definitely his daughter, ruthless, okay? I was like, girl, what is it going to do now? I mean, she's gone, and if he's gone, then, I mean, what is it that you're going to get from figuring this out? Like, it ain't making no sense to me. So in the next scene, Raymond, Leah, and Lauren, they get back to the house. Still no sign of the brother. And I'm like, where's this brother, child? He just refused to be a part of the family. So there's paparazzi everywhere. So then Alex, who is Raymond's ex-wife, she busts up out of the fold, right? And she's like, well, how's your father doing after having a heart attack? And Leah was kind of taken aback because she's trying to figure out, like, now how you know my daddy had a heart attack? So Leah said, he's fine. I wouldn't be here if he wasn't. Alex said, he'd be here if you were trying to cover up for him. Okay, Alex will get cussed all the way out. Alex will get cussed out all over this island. Do you hear me? Like, she likes to overstep boundaries. Girl, go away, okay? You're supposed to be finding out things on the financial side. Not coming over here dipping and dapping in my business, and now you're spreading it all amongst the people in the media. Like, what is wrong with you? So Raymond is like, okay, everybody, leave or I'll have to have you escorted off. This is private property. So when they all disperse, Leah is like, how did she even know he had a heart attack? Girl, your husband caught a ride to the hospital. Baby, this is getting messy, and I am here for it. Do y'all hear me? So he's like, baby, don't worry about that. Leah said, you know what? I'm going to figure out what she's really doing here in Oak Bluff, and I'm going to squash it. Well, child, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. In the next scene, Tariq stopped by to check on Angela, and she tells him that Teddy is stable. And she's about to go check on him at the hospital, but Nikki isn't speaking to her. Child, I wouldn't speak to you either. Because she asked you about her father over and over again and got nothing. That is a lot for one person to digest. Like, you told her absolutely nothing. So Tariq said, I kind of feel responsible for the heart attack because I was asking about my father. And then he told Angela, he said, his father committed suicide according to Teddy. But he doesn't believe that. His father isn't like that. That's not like him to want to take his own life. So he's going to talk to some of his friends to get some answers. Side note, as I was watching them, I was like, they make a beautiful couple. I mean, I know he's married and he has his children, so it's off the table. But I was just looking at the two of them, and aesthetically, they look wonderful together. I was like, yes, black love, fictional or not. Moving forward. Back of the DuPonts, Leah is talking to her son on the phone, trying to help him navigate the paps, including Alex. And then Raymond walks up and she's like, yeah, I'm just telling him because he spent the night at the hospital. Oh, okay. Well, let me know something, child, because I was sure looking for him. She was like, he spent the night at the hospital. So I'm just telling him how to navigate the paparazzi, including your meddling ex-wife. So she's talking to Raymond and she's like, what's wrong? What's wrong with that ex of yours? What's wrong with that ex? Why is she all in our business? Like, she was like, do you think she's jealous? So he tells her that she's angry that his parents tried to pay her off to dissolve their marriage. He's like, I was going to tell you, but, you just got so much stuff going on, so I didn't. She said, well, you know what? I'm going to host a press conference so I can feed her on my own terms. She wants a fight, I'll give her one. Baby, it's about to be on this island, honey. I think that's smart, though, because that way you can paint your own narrative, honey. Don't let people tell your story. You get in front of it and tell your own story. So Angela shows up at the compound to see Nate, to give him some food. She's like, are you hungry? And they sit down to eat. Now, the whole while they talking, all I'm thinking is the food getting cold. It looked like it was from a burger joint. I don't like no cold burger, honey. It ain't much you can do with it after it gets cold. I was like, if y'all don't sit down and eat... Y'all know I'm greedy, child. So he sits down, he's talking to her and telling her that he's still in shock because he feels like he could just go back in at any moment. She was like, nope, you're free. You're a free man. So Angela is telling him that Nikki needs him. He said, if it weren't for your mom visiting and encouraging me and keeping me up to date about Nikki and her being born, I don't think I would have even survived in there. So she's like, you know what, Nate? I'm really sorry about that. And I'm sorry for not telling Nikki. He's like, you know what? I understand. I mean, you had to do what you thought was best to protect her. So then she noticed that he had some blankets on the floor. And she was like, are you sleeping on the floor? He said, yeah, I've just been conditioned to do those things. And when he was saying that, I was like, man, that is so sad. He's so used to sleeping on a concrete slab, he can't fathom sleeping on a bed. Like, it's just like the little liberties that we take for granted. Child, that's why I tell my son all the time, you have to lead with integrity. When you get ready to make a decision, ask yourself, and this is in anything, even though he's really small, ask yourself, will this decision alter the way that I live? Will this decision possibly cause a terrible consequence? Will this decision cost me my freedom? Like, those are the things that you need to be asking. And I also ask him every day, what is integrity? And he knows to tell me that integrity is what you do when nobody's watching. Because, baby, I refuse to raise a prison bae. Do y'all hear me? Child, no ma'am. And I mean, this right here just really did something to me. I'm like, this is terrible. Being institutionalized will really alter a person. So he was like, I grew my locks out because it was the only thing that I could control. And I did it to be rebellious. They represent my pain, but I'm ready to shed them and I'm ready to move forward. All right, then let's get into it. Moving forward. So day is now night and she's on the beach cutting his locks while telling him what our hair represents. And I'm like, girl, you been with him all day? Did y'all eat? Because, honey, y'all sure left them burgers and fries over there sitting over to the side. Second of all, did you go to the hospital? Child, not y'all together from day to night today. Okay. Honey, she cut those locks, twisted his hair. He stood up. My word, that man is a good looking man. So he gave her his journals. He's like, this is my whole life in here. And I want Nikki to have it. So she's standing there and he's standing there with his arm like around her shoulder and the fire is crackling. The locks are being burnt to a crisp. I'm like, honey, I don't know now. The way these two interact, and Tariq may need to be a little nervous. I don't know. Did y'all see how they were looking at each other? I said, oh, baby, it's going to be a love triangle all up and through. I'm just saying. In the next scene, poor Nikki is in her room and she's crying, honey, and that ain't hard for her because her little eyes stay wet. Okay, and Angela comes in to try to explain to her what happened with her dad. And, Nikki blinking and thinking, ma'am, I hear you and all the nice things that you're saying about the father and whatnot, but you could have done this 17 years ago. So, I mean, zip it. So she's telling her that he's more than his mistakes and she missed out on her father and she doesn't want her to miss out. She said, I shouldn't have let my anger get in the way. So then she tells Nikki that he always wanted to see her, but she kept her away because she wanted to protect her. So then Nikki sat up and she said, no, you were trying to protect yourself like you always do. I needed my father and everybody lied to my face my entire life. So y'all know Angela didn't have much to say, honey. She was just sitting there looking. She was like, I'm sorry. So she gets up and she drops the journal on the dresser and Nikki turns back over and proceeds to blink and think. Moving forward, Leah is giving a press conference and Alex is going in. So in the living room, Aunt Piggy is watching it and so Angela walks up. So she's asking all kinds of inappropriate questions. So after the conference, Leah corners Alex and she said, this is the second time you've come for me, honey, and you didn't send for her. That's the thing. Your husband sent for her, but you didn't send for her. She coming for you. She said the third time, it won't be pretty. She said, are you threatening me, Leah? That's Mrs. Franklin DuPont to you. Baby. Moving forward. Back at the hospital, Leah is visiting with Teddy when Angela shows up looking for Alex and that mouth of hers. So just then, Teddy goes into cardiac arrest. He's like, y'all fussing and hollering over me? Oh, no, ma'am. So he goes into cardiac arrest. We get a glimpse into Teddy's mind and he's there with Louis standing over their daddy's body in a casket. And he's like, I'm not ready. I don't want this to be me. I'm not ready. I'm like, oh my goodness, honey. So at the house, Lauren is crying and she's upset about Teddy. So Raymond comes on down and sits down and talks to her for a little bit. And so Nate is standing at the top of the stairs and he comes looking for a sandwich. I'm like, child, if you don't go in the kitchen to make yourself something to eat. So he's telling them, cherish the opportunities and the moments that the two of you have together because he wished that he could have those things with Nikki. And so Raymond told him, look, you're a guest here. You don't have to tiptoe around here. This ain't the prison yard. I mean, feel free to roam the hallways. Okay. Everything's going to be fine. On the other side, the head of housekeeping is telling the rest of the staff, basically, what happens in this house stays in this house. So no talking to the press. And you know what? When I was a little girl, my mom would always tell me that. She used to always say, whatever happens in this house, it stays in this house. You don't tell your grandma, your uncles, your aunts, your cousins. Whatever we talk about in here is what we talk about in here. This is family business. And that's all I could think of when she was talking to the staff. But that's just a side note. In the next scene, Tariq shows up to get more info on his dad. And, the head of housekeeping points him in the direction of Aunt Piggy. Apparently, she was the girlfriend of Darius who used to work with or for Tariq's dad. She said, you might want to talk to her. That lady has more secrets than a little bit. Then they pan over to the hospital where Alex and Raymond are sitting in the car having a little lover's quarrel. And I'm thinking, child, y'all acting like y'all still together, fussing and fighting. He said, look, I only want my company back. I don't want my wife getting hurt. She said, let me do what I'm here to do. If you were up there, they would be trying to take what's theirs, and you need to do the same. Baby, let me just say this. If Teddy was down here and he was up there, child, he'd go up there and pull the plug himself. Teddy could care less about Raymond. Now, Leah, on the other hand, I don't think she would want to hurt her husband, although she is willing to do anything for her daddy. So I don't know. Child, it's just, I don't know. It could go either way. So Alex said, Teddy and Olivia conspired to take your life. Don't you ever wonder what we could have been? No, he doesn't, honey. He doesn't wonder that. See, she gonna be trouble. She want that old thing back by any means necessary. Or she either want that or she's doing this because she's trying to spite Olivia. It's one of the two. So then she leans in to kiss him and he kind of pulls back. But honey, you was locked a little bit. I mean, you were locked for at least 30 seconds. Child, that's 1 second too long. And he's like, look, I love my wife. She said, today. Baby, he hops out that car and tells her, stay away from my family. Waiting in the wings is Angela, baby. She saw the whole thing. Moving forward, Lauren stops by Eve's Crown and she's talking to Nikki, trying to make sure she's okay. And she's telling her that she met her dad. So then she tells her how great her relationship is with Raymond and how that's the most important relationship that she has. And so she wants her to have the same thing. And she wants her to talk to him. So Nikki tells her about the journals and how she's afraid to read them. So Lauren said, you want me to read them for you? So she starts reading this poem. And the poem is all about Nikki. So y'all know Nikki was sitting there and she kept blinking and blinking and blinking until she cried. Child, in the next scene, Tariq stops by to see Aunt Piggy and all of her secrets. Honey, she out there fixing a hot toddy. She ready to get into it as she gets into it. And he asked about Darius. She starts acting like she knew nothing. Darius. Who is people? Yep, don't ring a bell. Don't ring a bell. Never knew a Darius. Baby, Patricia is acting like she don't know now. Do y'all hear me? Baby, you a bold-faced lie. You know exactly who he talking about. So Tariq was like, oh, okay, I thought you knew him. He just turns around and walks away. He gave up entirely too easy. You didn't cross-examine her or nothing. Like, how you just gonna let her say, no, I don't know him? You should have said, well, I was pointed in your direction and they said that you dated him. You don't remember that? Like, I mean, really get into it. So when he left, you know, she was shooketh. So she dropped that cup with that liquor on the ground. And then we fast forward to Louis and Teddy talking. So now he's back going toward the light, right? So they're talking about all of the past mistakes he's made. And then we get to the elevator. Child, it's about to go down. Inside the elevator is Raymond, Angela, and Leah. As soon as he gets in there, Angela said, so you're the leak? You're telling her stuff? He's like, what? Leah said, what is she talking about? So Angela pulls the Solange and slaps the taste right on out of Raymond's mouth. And she said, I saw him in the car with Alex and he kissed her. He's like, you don't know the entire story. Leah said, you were with her? Not you were with her, honey. He was kissing her. Did you hear what she said? She's like, I may have beef with your wife, but you're out here kissing some pro while she's doing everything she can to keep your family together? Baby, then she turned into Kung Fu Panda and hit him with a hi-ya. Baby, she kicked him. And Raymond's still trying to explain to her what he was doing. And he's like, listen, let's just listen to me. So by this time, the elevator is open, right? Child, it was a long elevator ride. So the elevator door opens up. And Leah looks at Raymond. She said, I can't even have you at this hospital right now. I just can't. Because, honey, we don't know how the secret's getting out, okay? We just don't know. After kicking Raymond out, the sisters bond over Angela going hood one time for the one time, okay? Because she was like, you will not play with my sister. Whether or not I just found out about her or not, you will not play in my face. So they bond. They gather hands to pray. Because, you know, when two or more are gathered, honey, it shall be done. So they pray over Teddy, and finally he wakes up. And it was very nice to see them coming together as sisters. I really loved that. And Leah even said, you know, she always appreciated being an only child because, you know, she got all the attention, all the gifts, all the love. But going through this and him having a heart attack and him having Parkinson's, it feels really good to know that she has someone. And you know what? That made me think about a dear friend of mine that I had. And she was an only child. and her dad's health was slowly declining. And I remember her just crying at work one time, and she was just like, this is too much for one person. And her mom was also, in a convalescent home. So it was just so much on her to be one person. And I just told her, look, girl, okay, because I'm the oldest in my family. If you need a sister, because I always like to mother people anyway, child. That's just what I do. I got you. Okay, we're going to go through this together. You can call me in the middle of the night. I will come to any doctor's appointments. I will be there when you need to cry. I will help with funeral arrangements when that time is there. I will do anything that you need me to do because like we were like best friends. Just so you can feel like you have a sibling. And again, I know I tell y'all this all the time. It makes me think about my son being an only child. I'm like, how is he going to be able to handle everything if something were to ever happen to me? That's a lot for one person. So I did appreciate them, coming together in that moment. That's just a side note. Back at the house, Nikki is reading the journals and Angela comes in. So Angela tells her how he ended up in jail, and she told her the story about him stealing and how he got caught up because the security guard was shot in the middle of him stealing. And again, Angela, why didn't you tell her that a long time ago? But in the end, Nikki did say she was going to give her dad another chance. Back at the DuPonts, Raymond is still trying to explain Alex away. So as they're talking, Alex comes on with her up-to-the-minute BS updates, and she reveals that he has Parkinson's. Well, baby, what she say that for? Leah went straight Angela Bassett. Baby, she started going in that closet, pulling out her shoes, and so she gets up in arms, and she tells Raymond to pack a bag. I'm like, girl, not a bag. Girl, get your and get out. That's what you need to do. Shout out to Waiting to Excel. Honey, get all your stuff, not just a bag. So she tells him to get a bag and leave. But this is the thing. I was confused because she stated that she didn't even tell Raymond that he had Parkinson's. So why was she getting so up in arms? Did she tell him and we didn't find out that she told him? And I think that's going to register with her a little bit later after she stops being so heated. She's going to realize she never told Raymond that he had Parkinson's, because child, he was looking just as shocked as she was. In the next scene, Piggy knew the block was hot, so she left a Dear John letter and got the heck out of Dodge. Do y'all hear me? Deuces. Nikki goes to meet with her father for the first time, and I was happy to see that. And he looks like he could be her father in real life. I was looking at the two of them, about the same height, same skin complexion. I was like, that was a very good casting. It really was. They actually look like they could be daughter and father. So at the hospital, Teddy finds out the world now knows about his Parkinson's. And so then we see a glimpse of Lewis, and his brother shows up in the final frame to let him know, you can't hide your truth forever. And that was the end of the episode. Child, that episode was good to me. I liked it because I felt like everybody was coming together. And finally, Leah is starting to accept Angela. And Angela is letting Nikki meet Nate. And baby, it's coming together. But Tariq, you better watch out for Nate, honey. Because I think he wants his family back, okay? I'm just saying. Y'all comment down below and tell me exactly what you thought about this episode. Please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Share this channel with a friend, y'all. Please share it with somebody. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.